What's a subtle sign that someone is a good person but doesn't want to show it? They say take your time. I always thought of it as a common courtesy. When you are having an argument and they actually listen to your point instead of just getting ready to make theirs. When my ex-best friend and I first met, we spent the night at my place watching YouTube videos and showing each other our favorite music. She said that I was the first one to actually shut up and listen to what she wanted to show me instead of talking or mentioning stuff about my next YouTube clip I wanted to show her. Damn, I miss her. When someone is actually in trouble, needs help, they will help out, even if it's really subtle or disguised as something else. For instance, there was a kid in my school who had a reputation for not caring about others, doing whatever he wanted, and tried to convince everyone that he pretty much had no emotions. I think he thought it made him seem more tough and hardcore, and although he didn't necessarily do anything bad to anyone, he tried not to seem kind either. Once, one of my friends at school had some sort of emergency where she needed, I think, $30. Most people in class either didn't have $30, which was quite a bit for a kid to bring to school, to loan her, or they just didn't want to give it to her, thinking they would never get it back, and she was panicking. The teachers couldn't help her for some sort of legal reason. I think she wanted to take a taxi to the hospital because something had happened to a family member but was slightly underage, and the teachers had to pretend that they had no idea she was doing this. So, this kid with the reputation collected money from all of his friends, since he didn't have the money himself, under the pretense of another reason. I think it was something like movie tickets or something for that evening. Then, he privately gave it to her, but told her not to tell anyone it was him. I was close friends with her and was actually standing right next to her when he approached us and told us this. She managed to get to the hospital on time, while he paid for the tickets or whatever with his own money once he got home. When she later offered to pay him back, he refused, insisting that he didn't do anything. I think he knew that her family would struggle to pay that back. They were having some financial trouble. I guess it's not extremely subtle in my case since I was standing right there, but that was the first time I began realizing how some people pretended to not be a good person when they actually were. Whoa, this is really eerie. I've discovered that often what appears to be indifference is actually an internal struggle of, where you just put into words what I haven't been able to for most of my life. I waited tables at a pretty popular New Mexican restaurant when I was in college. There was this one manager. Her name was Rosie, and she never smiled. She always looked like she was pissed off at everyone and everything. The entire wait staff and bus staff feared her. When she walked into the kitchen and wanted something, the line would immediately jump to her demands. It was rumored that she was the person to fire any employee when an employee was fired. The only people that didn't seem to be scared of her were the hostesses. They were always talking to her like she was just any other manager or person in the restaurant. She scared the hell out of me for the first year I worked there. I made sure that she never had anything to be upset at with me. One day, I came into work sick as frick and having just a really bad day. She took me to the side and talked to me for a good half hour, just asking questions about my day and how school was going. Towards the end of the conversation she said I didn't look good and that if I wanted to, I could take the night off. Rosie was the best freaking person I ever met inside the restaurant industry. From that day on it was my goal to make her laugh. I never did make her laugh, but I got a smile out of her quite a bit after that. She was not just a good person, she was one of the best. But man, you won't know it unless you really took the time to look. She was one of those types of people you know had a hard time in life and put up a rough exterior. But deep down she was a softy and loving grandmother type. I hope she's happy in her retirement. I was at school with a guy who was the king of the cool kids. He was always getting busted for breaking school rules, drinking, smoking, bad-mouthing the teachers and so on. In fact, he did a bit of jail time later, for non-violent low-level drug dealing. I was the uber geek of the school. I didn't get bullied as such, but I remember one time that his cool gang kids were ribbing me a bit too much, and he stepped in and told them to cool it. And a bit later, when I won the school academic prize, he went out of his way to sincerely congratulate me. In fact, a few years later, and after the jail time, he became pretty well known as a TV personality and had his own show, where he was generally lauded as giving the impression of being a really nice guy, which, in this case, he was. Any hints as to who he is? Someone who's always quiet but raises their concern when they feel it's against theirs or someone's will. I can't seem to grasp what you mean by this, but clearly many others do. Discretion. I see it as a sign of empathy. Most of times, at least, they anticipate that openness may be undesirable for you and so they remain discreet in order to make you more comfortable. Be it regarding some information you shared with them or when helping you out with something. No questions asked. I've found that saying I don't need to know more if you're not comfortable telling me is one of the surest ways to get someone to unload all of it on me. I've completely meant it every time I've said it and also have learned to expect this reaction. They are given a chance to quietly talk bad about someone, but instead, says something good. A person who brings their shopping cart to the cart corral when they are done with it. Why do you guys in America not have the deposit thingy on the handle? The problem is non-existent where I live. People who ignore things like accidentally spitting while talking or accidentally farting to not make you feel embarrassed. So the next time I'm spitting while talking and farting all over the place, when they could pick up Thor's hammer but chooses not to. I understood that reference. Doing kind things and not taking credit or posting for internet karma. I'm not really a good person, but I really fail to get how people could take credit for something they didn't make. It'd feel terrible. You must actually catch them in action, because they will not call attention to themselves in any way. Fear the ones who allow others to merge in traffic or stop short of a commercial driveway to let a car out into traffic. They'll see a cart abandoned in the lot, walk to it, and take it into the store to use. They'll bring coupons from home that they won't use and place them on the market shelves for others. They'll call the cashier by name, engage them in conversation rather than play with their phone, and make them smile. They'll run guns to Ethiopia and fight on the loyalist side in the Spanish Civil War. The person who asks, giving responses that show understanding. They don't ask questions that might hurt other people, or why you don't have kids. An absence of inflammatory probing questions is the best. How they treat animals and customer service staff, especially when they are agitated. Putting their shopping cart in the corral, even if it's not right next to them. Ever seen someone get angry at the bank restaurant and take a second say it's not your fault? Your company has a policy I'm sorry if I got agitated. When they realize you need help just by a look in your eyes and then actually help you. They yield to people that approach an elevator first, hold doors, and are pleasant patient with people in the service industry. Unless they deliberately hold open doors for people that are just a bit too far away for it to be convenient. So there they are watching people do the fake running thing towards the door, haha. Comments are full of modern day filmmaking television anti-hero descriptions. Explain more please. Those that read and upvote the post and comments, then just smile knowing their secret is safe.